the supported child's pose helps us to bring awareness to our diaphragm as we breathe. Sometimes we may find that the diaphragm, so this diaphragm is located between the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. It lies over the stomach and the liver and below the heart and lungs. And when we breathe, ideally it flattens out, the belly pushes out on the inhale, and when we breathe out it goes back to its kind of dome shape. Okay, sometimes if we're holding tension in the abdomen, we tend to bring the breath up into the chest. We do this kind of chest breathing. So when we go into the supported child's pose, it helps us to relax the abdomen. We can feel the support against the abdomen, and when we breathe we'll notice that the abdomen will be pressing into the support, and we might be able to sense this movement into the lower back and the back of the chest. So we start to feel this movement. So it's very relaxing, great for relief of stress and anxiety. You probably wouldn't want to do it if you are pregnant. That's probably the main contraindication. So we can, if you've got a bolster, I'll show you how to use the bolster first. Really, it's the same thing with a stack of blankets. With the blankets, you're making pretty much the same shape as this bolster. Now, this is a really thick bolster I've got here, so it's pretty good, and particularly for this child's pose, supported child's pose, because it's quite high, and we need a little bit of height here. You might need a pillow or so for the head. So there's a couple of options here now. So one thing is, like, are we able to sit back on the heels? So if your top of the ankles really hurt here when you're doing that, you could always take one of the rolled blankets and bring it under the top of the ankles, or really just the lower part of your shin. So if you can see that, and that will help to release any, if it's very tight at the top of the ankles, that will give you a little bit more space. So that might be useful. Then we could sit with the knees on either side of the bolster and just bring the bolster in between the legs as close as we can. Okay, so I think I'm going to need more height here. So what I could do is either use my other blanket. Actually, that would probably be really good. So just if you're doing this, you haven't got a bolster, you'd use a rolled blanket or two. So I could bring my other rolled blanket here, and then I'm going to bring the blanket up right against the lower abdomen, and then I want to make sure I'm nice and long through the front of the body. So as I release and let the abdomen and chest rest down onto the support, my head is going to turn to the side. Probably if you've got glasses, you want to take them off, and the arms are just hanging down. And now I'm going to just sense the breath, and I want to just feel the breath expanding into the back of the rib cage and the lower back. Okay, so this is really a tutorial of how to get in and out of the pose. When you found the comfortable position for yourself, you stay there you can stay in this one for up to 5 minutes, probably not longer than that. You might start getting pins and needles, things like that. So another thing you could do, so if again you find it difficult to sit back onto the heels, then you could actually come right up onto your supports. And again, if you don't have a bolster, perhaps you could just use these blankets, a couple of rolled blankets, and stack a couple of yoga blocks underneath, some supports underneath to raise the blankets up. So when we're here, if we can't sit back to the heels, as I said, then we can actually sit on the support, and then we're going to lean forward. Now, if you're very tall, your head might hang off to the side. So like if you're really tall and your head's hanging like this, then you would probably want some more supports for the head. So I've got loads of blocks, of course, so I might then, if my head was hanging off like that, I might then just use some support. Okay, but I think this bolster is just about long enough for me to be in this position. So this actually even feels even nicer now. So as I let my head relax down, wants to feel comfortable, let the arms just relax by the side, closing the eyes. So this is going to be better for those of you who might not be able to sit down onto the heels. Okay, and then again you'd relax into this position. So as you relax here, after a couple of minutes, because the head is turned one way, you'd want to then turn the head in the other direction. Okay, so you need a fair bit of height for this, so a stack of blankets, pillows, and fairly firm as well if you can. So and then of course after a few minutes you just bring yourself out. And always when you come out of the position, make sure you come out quite slowly, and you don't feel like you're in a rush to do anything afterwards. You feel, there's not, you want to retain that peacefulness and quietness that you might have got from the supported child's pose. So that's the supported child's pose, and again, like I said, no more than 5 minutes. Oh yeah, and afterwards, when the legs have been in that position for a while, just to either just straighten out the legs basically, so you could go into a downward facing dog or something, or just take the legs out and give them a little bit of a shake like this. Okay, so supported child's pose there.